Hello, I'm Leslie Venetz. I'm the founder of B2B sales training and consulting agency Sales Team Builder, and I am passionate about time management. A few of the topics I am super excited to dig into today are helping you define your key result area, using the urgent be important quadrants to understand how to better prioritize your time, and then taking some action by adding some time blocks, some color coding into your calendar. So we're going to accomplish a lot today with a goal of you leaving this session feeling more ownership over your time that will enable you to be more productive. But first, let me take just 60 seconds to tell you how I developed a passion and a skill set for time management. So picture this. It is 2009. I am a recent college graduate in my first post-college sales job. And I am selling to Fortune 500 CFOs during the Great Recession. I was also in a player coach role, which meant that in addition to hitting my own quota, I was responsible for a team of 6 direct reports, 6 other people that needed my attention. And I was responsible for my own hiring recruitment funnel as a hiring manager. So you might already be thinking to yourself, gosh, that sounds like a lot for one person to manage. And you would be right. Every day I was pulled in too many directions. I was overwhelmed by my many responsibilities, and it felt like I was always letting somebody down. At the end of the day, days that were frequently 9 or 10 hours, I often thought to myself, what the heck did I even accomplish today? If you've turned in for this session on time management, I'm guessing that you maybe have asked yourself that same question at least once before. So I knew I needed to make a change. I was determined to use my time more effectively. Now, 12 years later, most of the skill sets that I deployed in 2009, they're what I still use. They're the cornerstone of my time management right now. They are what allow me to run a 6-figure agency working 4 days a week. And I am going to share my best secrets with you. Ready to get started? Okay. The very first thing I did was establish a KRA, or key result area. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to pause this video to jot down your own KRA. But let's dig into exactly what it is first. Your KRA is your umbrella goal. It's the number one most important thing that you would like to accomplish during a specific timeline. For example, my KRA for the balance of this year is to achieve my revenue goal via high profit margin deals while enabling work-life boundaries. So as a business owner, you can see my personal professional goals bleeding together a bit with my KRA. In 2009, in that first sales player coach recruitment role, my KRA was to exceed team quota on a monthly basis. So it was a little bit more bite-sized. And since you may be new to setting a key result area and using it to support your time management goals, maybe think about more of a bite-sized KRA to get started. Okay, so go ahead and pause this video and take a moment to think about your own KRA. It will become your time management North Star. So take 5, even 10 minutes to make sure you feel good about the key result area you've selected. See you in a few minutes. Welcome back. I wish this was live so I could hear all of your amazing KRAs, but assuming you're watching this on YouTube, I'm thinking, leave a comment with your key result area below so that future learners have some examples to work with. Now that you have a KRA, let's dig in. If you're able, it might be valuable to have your calendar accessible during the next exercise so that you can visually see where you are spending your time. First, we're going to go through an exercise to understand where those activities lie within 4 squares, the 4 urgent be important quadrants. Then I'm going to ask you to start making some small changes like color coding your calendar and clustering activities. I'm a big fan of taking immediate action, and I hope I can inspire you to make at least a few small changes to improve the ownership of your time by the end of our session today. So in 2019, when I was overwhelmed with many, often conflicting duties, I did what any normal person would do, and I asked Google for help. One of the first results that came up was Stephen Covey's time management matrix. You may recognize Stephen Covey's name from his best-selling book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. The time management matrix creates 4 quadrants based on degrees of urgency and importance. If you'd like to do this exercise together, and I think you should, go ahead and pause me again while you get a pen and paper. All right, on your paper, write out 4 large equal-sized boxes. We're going to jot notes inside the boxes later, so use the whole dang sheet of paper if you'd like. On one axis is urgency, and on one axis is importance. So what I'd like you to do is start in the upper left quadrant and write down the word urgent at the top of your paper. And then in the upper right quadrant, so on the other side, but still on the top of your paper, write down the words not urgent. So you have urgent, not urgent at the top of your paper. Now on the left-hand side of your paper, we're going to add in the importance axis. So on the left-hand side, at the top, so meaning just to the left of the box that should have urgent written over it, write the word important. And then below that, so still on the left-hand side of your paper, but the bottom left-hand side box, write the words not important. Got it? Okay, so you should be looking at 4 boxes that are categorized as urgent and important, not urgent but important, not important but urgent, and finally, not urgent and not important. If your paper looks nothing like that, pause me again, pop the words urgent v important matrix into Google. The results will pop up and help you. All right, now grab that key result you established earlier. As I mentioned, we're going to use that as our North Star for time management to really understand which tasks are truly urgent and truly important. So you have your important and urgent matrix, you have your KRA. We're going to dig in. I'm going to give you some examples of tasks you'd commonly find in each quadrant. And I ask that you start jotting down your own tasks based on which quadrant you believe they best fit in. So you may find this exercise makes you want to adjust your key result area a bit. That's fine. Don't sweat about that right now. What we're ultimately going for is alignment between the number one thing that matters most for you to get right now and the way you're spending your time. So if you have to make some little pivots, don't let that hold you up. All right, let's start with the box for activities that are both urgent and important. So we're in the urgent and important box. I like to start there because this is often the easiest quadrant to fill in. Word of warning though, many tasks that are important are not actually urgent. We certainly have a tendency to maybe feel some internal urgency, but they are actually urgent. So don't overdo it. Some examples. If you're in sales, responding to an inbound marketing qualified lead is something that is both urgent and important. Or perhaps sending over a contract after a prospect has said yes. That is something that is important and also needs to be done immediately. They are important because they align to your key result area of revenue, and urgent because they do require that immediate action. Feel free to pause as often as you need as we go through the quadrants to jot down appropriate tasks in each square. But let's move next to important but not urgent. So we're in the box for tasks that are important but not urgent. This is my absolute favorite quadrant because it's really where you are likely to uncover the biggest opportunities to save time In a few minutes, we are going to look at how we can use time blocking to cluster some of the tasks that show up in this quadrant for important but not urgent, and it will buy back hours of your time each week. So the type of tasks that you want to put in the important but not urgent square are things like replying to Slacks and emails, making cold calls if you're in sale, updating your CRM. So you get the idea. There are things that you have to do unless you want to risk the wrath of your manager, but not things that need to be done immediately. And you may be thinking, Leslie, I do need to reply to my Slacks and emails immediately. And the answer is no, you don't. There is no truly gentle way to say this, but you are not so important that your organization cannot function for an hour if they need to wait for a reply. It might require you to establish some new boundaries or new expectations, but it's possible. And not just possible, it is necessary for you to take back your time, and you deserve to own your time in a way that works for you. So setting a mindset there. By now, you're probably getting the hang of what goes into the different quadrants. Again, pause as often as you need to fill in the tasks from your calendar. But let's move down to the urgent but not important quadrant. You may find tasks in this square, like some meetings that you're required to attend but aren't strictly aligned to your KRA. Some emails and calls will fall into this category. They're items that do truly require an urgent reply, but don't align to your KRA. Maybe like folks stopping by your desk for a quick question if you're in an open office. I do ask you to keep the wise words of Bob Carter in mind, that somebody else's lack of preparation is not your emergency. So while these tasks may require some urgency on your behalf, remember that they are a distraction and they should be limited or avoided where possible. Okay, the final box here, the final quadrant, we're going to look at tasks that fall into not urgent and not important. Where possible, these tasks should be delegated, outsourced, deleted. We don't have time to dig into it today, but I have a great framework for to-do list. It guides you to do, delegate, delete, or diarize tasks based on how they align to your KRA and your ability to execute them. So if you love time management, if you want to go deeper, see more content like that, please make sure to follow me on LinkedIn at Leslie Venetz or on TikTok at Sales Tips Talk. But for today, activities that fall into not urgent and not important are things like doom scrolling, maybe folks you work with that are just energy vampires, pointless busy work, activities like that. So we really want to try to eliminate those sorts of activities, or at least delegate, outsource them where possible. If you need to, press pause right now to take a few more minutes to go through your calendar and plot those activities onto the urgent v important quadrant. Do that, because we need that info for the next two activities, which are color coding your calendar and clustering, which also you might hear referred to as time blocking or batching. So pause if you need to. All right, let's add some time blocks to your calendar right now. I said I love to take action. I want you to take action so that you really get something tangible from our time together today. I believe in you. I think you can do it. And I know that you deserve to own your time in a way that works for you. So we are going to get started by using the tasks in your important but not urgent quadrant. Important but not urgent. So as a reminder, those tasks, probably things like answering Slacks or emails, making cold calls. For me, it's leaving comments on LinkedIn or creating client decks. It's work that needs to be done, but can be planned for. A couple of ways that I use clustering that you can use as inspiration. And they might not be exact for you, but you can use them as inspiration to make sure you're carving out that dedicated focus time on your calendar. So all of these techniques I used when I had a boss and was working my own deal cycles. And there's still things that work now that I'm my own boss. Okay, whatever you are doing, when you're, or I guess I should say, when you're doing focused work, make sure that you are truly doing focused work. So eliminate other distractions. That could be closing your email, closing your Slack. I often turn my phone either face down or I turn it onto airplane mode. So any of those things that are going to be distractions, eliminate them so that you can truly focus. I mentioned that one of the activities I time block is comments, leaving comments on LinkedIn. I block an hour from my day every day to engage with comments on my own posts and to leave comments on other people's content. After that, I close LinkedIn because LinkedIn is a distraction, still social media. Another example, when I'm cold calling, I block the time to make those cold calls. So when I am cold calling, my Slack, my email, my LinkedIn, it's all closed. All social media is closed. The only thing I have open is the tech I'm using. So your, CRM, your sales enablement platform dialer. During a cold call time block, I do not send follow-up emails. Instead, I stack my time blocks. So I have another 30 minutes after my cold call time block. That's an administrative time block where I then can focus on administrative tasks like sending follow-up emails or updating the CRM. So those are just a few examples, but I hope you're getting some inspiration for ways that you can take tasks that are important, but can be planned for, and organize your calendar in a way that allows you to stay focused on a single task at one time. Remember, multitasking is a myth. The human brain is not capable of multitasking. It only leads to reduced productivity and an increase in errors. So we're gonna avoid it. We're gonna organize our calendar in a way that dismisses the myth that multitasking is a productive way to work. So as you think about how to optimize your calendar with clustered activities, think about which activities you can cluster together that are going to allow you, for your job and the way your brain works, to have a razor sharp focus. That might mean you need to make adjustments to have shorter time blocks. Maybe roll out the Pomodoro, which is 25 minutes on, and then you're taking a 5-minute break. I prefer longer time blocks. I do 1 to 2 hours before I take a break so I can really get into flow state. So have a think on it, be intentional to make sure it's what's going to work for you. All right. The final quick time management technique that I'd like you to take action on today is color coding your calendar. This is a fun one. I'm hoping a few of you have already done this, but maybe this is your cue to update your colors a little bit. So let me suggest 2 ways to think about color coding your calendar. Whichever you choose, the goal is to make it as easy as possible to see how you're spending your time and to help you better prioritize your activities. So option 1, pick 4 colors and overlay them based on which activities sit in each of the 4 urgent v important quadrants. So that could be a really fun one to try off the back of our time together today. Option 2, if you want to use all of the colors, and this is what I do, is assigning colors to different types of tasks. For example, all of my prospect meetings and any new business development activities are in red. All of my media stuff like webinars, podcast recordings are in pink. Anything where I'm learning. So an activity like this, tuning into a time management session, or maybe an internal training, I mark as green. And then each of my recurring revenue consulting clients have their own color. So it is so easy to see how much time I'm dedicating to them every week, and generally how my time is being spent, with that goal of ensuring that it is aligned to my key result area. So my calendar and my color coding is not likely to work for you, but I'm hoping that you can take, again, that inspiration, sort of the ideas, the logic that I'm sharing here, and apply it to your own calendar and to the way you work. The goal of this session was to help you gain clarity on your key result area and then use that to give you clarity on where you should be spending your time. I hope that you were able to use your KRA and the urgent v important quadrants to take action today to make some updates to your calendar that increase your productivity. As I shared, these pivots may require some expectation setting, and they will almost certainly require you to create boundaries and stick to them, because time blocks don't work if you constantly bend and schedule meetings over them. But if you reset those expectations, if you set the boundaries and stick to them, the result will be worth it. And you deserve to own your time. You took a big step today by joining and following along with this session and taking action. Now, I know we only had about 20 minutes together today, and I could have spent 20 hours talking about time management. If you do want to go deeper, I'd like to recommend 2 books. Of course, Stephen Covey, who I spoke about earlier, his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, is a good one. And if you've not already read Atomic Habits, it is a must read. And of course, if this is a topic that you enjoy, find me talking about it on LinkedIn at Leslie Venetz and on TikTok at Sales Tips Talk. Thank you. See you next time.